Hey, I'm Sam, and I've been away for a while, but now that I'm back, I've decided I'm playing every Sonic game. If it isn't clear from half of my existing content revolving around him, I really like that blue hedgehog. I have a pretty long history of him, starting with some of the very first games I ever played, all the way up to a relatively recent one I've put a lot of time into. So, because of that, and also because I'm probably insane, I decided I want to eventually make a video about every single Sonic game. To kick this off, I'll talk about the Sonic game that started it all, the first appearance of this beloved snarky mascot, the origin point for my favorite video game character, the Japan exclusive arcade racing game Radmobile. Wait, what? Sonic 1 is kind of a unique game, especially for the time it came out in. Before Sonic existed, platformers were kind of stale, but Sonic was something special. More colorful visuals, faster action, and way more stuff on screen, and possibly most importantly for Sega, an attitude. For a brief period in 1991, Sonic made Mario look lame. The marketing pitting Sonic against Mario and the Sega Genesis against the NES basically invented all those stupid console wars some people are still fighting to this day. That's how much of a big deal Sonic the Hedgehog was. Even with all that excitement, Sonic 1, on a fundamental level, is still a pretty simple game. You can walk left and right, you can jump in the air, just like any other platformer, but you can also press down to turn into a ball and build extra momentum. In case it wasn't obvious, momentum is basically the defining feature of this game and Sonic as a series, with your momentum and the terrain itself basically becoming the run button you would see in a more traditional platformer. To go along with this more fast-paced gameplay loop, there aren't many mechanics revolving around power-ups or hit points. Instead, Sonic's health is just tied to the collectible rings he got, and aside from some simple shield and invincibility power-ups, there just really isn't that many other complex systems in this game. The ability to pick up rings, though, is a really smart way to make running into obstacles at full speed less punishing, because you can always pick up your rings again instead of losing a hit point permanently. And I think that one mechanic makes the game feel significantly less stressful than it would be otherwise. With how generally simple it is mechanically, Sonic 1 is a game that's very reliant on its level design, and how well the level design serves that wacky momentum I mentioned. That means the levels that are there have to be good. Are they? Well... At the very beginning of Sonic 1, Green Hill Zone is already a masterclass of how to make a first level. It's all perfectly fine-tuned for you to get a really great first impression. The colors are bright, everything is animated and lively, the music is catchy, and most importantly of all, the actual layout of the level is just really good. Green Hill Zone almost perfectly mixes some simple platforming challenges with speed and momentum. You have so many opportunities to dash across the level, and use the game's physics to your advantage to pull off some crazy skips. Super iconic level gimmicks like the loop-de-loop, tunnels, and crumbling platforms are all things that would frequently return in future games, and for good reason. Even if you're not great at this game, you will just feel how fast Sonic is in Green Hill. I know Green Hill has become a bit of a joke recently, but it really does deserve to be remembered for how good it is. The level ends with a cute boss fight that introduces our main villain, Dr. Eggman. And with that, we move on to... I just don't like Marble Zone. After Green Hill made... wait, is that the same grass texture? After Green Hill made it clear how a Sonic level should be designed, Marble Zone just kind of throws that all out the window. Gone is the open, expansive hills full of loop-de-loops and high-speed tunnels, and now we just have slow-moving blocks over lava, slowly moving spike platforms that can crush you, slowly moving pillars that can crush you. Why is the crushing mechanic even a thing in these games? It was in the first game, it constantly reappears in almost every 2D Sonic game, and it's consistently the most obnoxious and pace-killing obstacle in each one of those. Anyways, I get that it's supposed to be more of a challenge compared to Green Hill, but Marble Zone just feels like it's in the wrong game. It rarely uses anything you've been taught to do over the course of Green Hill, especially when the majority of the terrain is just flat blocks. Pretty much the only time you'll see hills in this level is when you're rolling back down into another blocky, boring section. The majority of the level just takes place in these desaturated purple nothing zones, without any of the things that make Sonic special. At least the music is really good, but overall, Springyard isn't a casino, but it resembles the archetype that shows up a lot in later Sonic games. It's also a pretty good improvement on Marble Zone. Finally, after that slog, the game is back to actually using its unique mechanics in somewhat interesting ways, and you get to roll around half pipes, up walls, and bounce around on bumpers. Still, despite that, I still think it kind of struggles to capture what really makes Sonic fun like Green Hill did, and as you move through each act, it becomes increasingly clear how much this level loves to use these alternating, slow-moving platforms you often get stuck between and crushed. A moving platform that you have to wait for that might also kill you is honestly, genuinely the worst thing you could put in a Sonic the Hedgehog game. And it kind of really just kills most of this level for me. I also think Spring Yard is weirdly bland looking. I feel like the striking, colorful aesthetic that was present in Green Hill just isn't in the rest of the game for some reason. There's still some highlights though, like the still really great music and this armadillo enemy that turns into a ball just like Sonic does. That's pretty neat. Still, we beat Eggman. Let's move on. Hey! You reached the middle of the video, so I'd like to take a moment to talk about my Sonic 1 special stages. Let's get this out of the way. I don't like special stages in Sonic. In almost any Sonic game, I think locking the ending, the final boss, and sometimes larger amounts of content behind a gameplay style that has nothing to do with the main game is kind of just dumb. I think giving the player extremely limited chances to actually do that is even more dumb. Very rarely across this whole series do I find doing special stages rewarding, and that's if I have the energy to do them at all. Sonic 1 special stages are okay for what they are. I mean, they're not really good, but there's worse examples in the series. You're stuck in ball form as the stage circles around you until you eventually reach the Chaos Emerald somewhere in the center, all while avoiding hitting this thing that kicks you out of the level. Even if I did particularly like them, there's no real incentive to even do all of them and get all the Chaos Emeralds, because all you get is a very slightly different ending. This is the last time you'll hear me talk about special stages for the rest of this video. Cool? Cool. Labyrinth Zone is bad. Okay, seriously, Labyrinth sucks. I know it's somewhat of a dead horse, but I'll still take my chance to beat it. There's a reason why everyone hates this level. Blocky platforming that does absolutely nothing to take advantage of the unique abilities that Sonic has, water physics that slow the entire game down to a crawl, it just sucks. I don't know how else to put it. Labyrinth Zone is by far the worst stage in the game. It doesn't even have a boss, just like a short chase sequence. This level sucks, and it's bad, and it's lame, and it's dumb. At least the music is pretty good. Now that's more like it. Starlight Zone is easily the second best level in Sonic 1. I still think it doesn't really quite nail everything that Green Hill did, but it comes pretty damn close. Unlike the last few stages, there's actually a really strong focus on speed here. So this level ends up being really fast paced, and you can pull off some pretty sick jumps too. It does some other really unique things compared to the other stages as well. These seesaw spike ball platform things are really fun, and they tie into the Eggman fight at the end of this zone in a pretty clever way that gives you multiple ways to deal with him. Also, even though there's much more vibrant city levels later in the Sonic series, the nighttime city aesthetic is a huge vibe, and Starlight Zone has what's probably my favorite song in Sonic 1. I wish all of this game was this good, because I love Starlight Zone. Scrap Brain is cool. I feel like a broken record at this point, but it still doesn't feel quite as well designed as Green Hill. But as a final level, it works. It's a lot tougher than the rest of the game, and more platforming focused, but for the very end of the game, I think it makes sense. Just like Spring Yard, however, there's this one really boring moving platform gimmick that feels out of place here. I find that the other obstacles and platforms in this level at least allow you to keep an okay pace, but as is seemingly necessary for this game, these things just slow the whole thing to a crawl. Still, Scrap Brain's aesthetic is really good, the music is awesome, and it's a pretty fitting finale to this game even if I wish it had more speed. Wait, there's another act? Scrap Brain Zone ends with basically a hard mode version of Labyrinth. I would tell you more about it, but there's a way to skip 90% of this act that basically everyone that knows about it uses, so I can't. Moving on. The incredibly creatively named Final Zone is actually just the final boss for Scrap Brain. It's whatever. Eggman switches between these crushers, and you have to avoid getting crushed or shot down by these laser ball things. It's not really that much more complex than the other bosses in Sonic 1, and I think the only thing that makes it difficult is the fact you get no rings in this stage. But for whatever reason, I took way too long to beat this when I was recording for this video, and I am not proud of it at all. But I did beat this thing, and with that, the game. So hey, real quick, if you're wondering what version of the game I was playing in my footage, it's actually called Sonic 1 Forever. It's a modification for the mobile version of Sonic 1, which, aside from generally fixing and cleaning up a lot of stuff, adds things like this really clean main menu and lots of settings and extras to mess around with. It's also completely free. I highly recommend playing this game this way over things like Origins or just a basic emulated copy of the game, so check it out if you're so inclined. At Sonic 1, you can look at this game two ways. You can view it in the context of being the first Sonic game, or you can view it as just a Sonic game. For the start of the series, it does a lot right, like the actual physics engine and style of gameplay, the honestly incredible music, and Sonic and Eggman's character designs. All of these things will be very important to the success of future Sonic games, but when you actually play Sonic 1 by itself, a major problem starts to pop up. This game is just really slow. Sonic doesn't have to be at a completely breakneck pace literally always, but Sonic 1 feels like it wanted to appease people looking for a normal platformer more than it wanted to be fast. It doesn't really work with Sonic's style of control, and it ends up just feeling a little bad. I think, in spite of that, Sonic 1 is just fine. There are short bursts of it that can be really fun, but in the end, it breaks the pace way too much with the level design. It's okay though, because as we'll see soon, Sonic could be so much better than this. But until then, I'll hopefully see you in less than 6 months. Bye!